Hey everybody, I'm coming to give you a brief update on the symposium that took place for my son on July 5th, 2025, and just kind of give you an update on what's going on because I'm getting inboxes and emails to find out what happened, what's next, where do we go from here. So, first of all, let me tell you about the symposium, what it's for. The symposium is to bring everybody together to, like, for the witnesses, the expert witnesses and community people and things like that, to give the basis of what is actually going on. So what happened is they brought they had the expert witness. They had his name is Simon Ford. If you can look him up, really big in California, expert witness. They had the attorneys, community leaders, people of the Innocence Project Japan. Everybody all came out and they discussed all the open details of what was going on in the case. They told everything. So if anybody had any question about the innocence or anything like that, there was no way. They put up maps, they put up time, they put up videos, they put up forensics, they put up DNA tests, they put everything up on screen so everybody can see what happened. And to show, one of the biggest things that got me, because I started finding out a lot of information, the Yamada, or the chemist that ran the test for the DNA, ran it 30 times to try to prove my son was not innocent. So he reran it 30 times to try to make it fit, and it still didn't fit. Then they held onto the cell phone or that my son, so they wouldn't run the IP address, and they were actually found the right locations, the whole nine. So they were just holding him. This is a thing that I believe that took place. And then my son ended up writing a letter. You know, they were able to read it, stating that, you know, he's been deemed innocent months ago. However, the prosecutor is not speaking up. Now, if you go into look up some of the articles in Japan, you're going to find out that one of the biggest things that we found out at the beginning of the case is that in 2018, a lot of cases, I think it's this Me Too thing that came out, hashtag Me Too that came out. So there was a lot of cases that were in Japan. So in Japan in 2021, they went and pulled all of the Me Too cases from 2018, and they needed them solved by any means necessary. So they took and ran through the databases of people who had given DNA, the whole nine, and they began to post these crimes and had people picked up. In November of 2021, my son was picked up. Right after that, in December, the U.S. Embassy issued a warning telling U.S. citizens to be careful because the police are randomly picking people up. However, it was kind of too late by then. My son was already in the system. So where do we go from here on all of this? What's happening is if headlines had to read the truth, it could read both Japan and America chose to believe that this man was guilty before proven innocent. So that's why we didn't touch it. Now, the problem that we're running into, or the situation that we're running into now, is nobody wants to take accountability, neither America nor Japan. Japan has committed an act of mistrust of justice, so they took and did all of this. However, the United States let them handle it without getting involved, which is understandable. It is a treaty that they have between two countries that they don't get involved in other people's legalities. They don't get involved. However, it's funny that every legality that has happened in Japan, America has gotten involved if the people choose to say that they're guilty, and if they don't look like me. So do your research. You'll find that out. However, Japan in two administrations have known this, and they have not reached out to me or anything. So what's happening now, I believe people are going behind closed doors trying to figure out who's going to, it's like pointing fingers. Why did you let this happen? Why did you do this? Why didn't you get involved? Well, why did you do it in the first place? So it's probably a bunch of finger pointing. As a parent, I had to go a step further. So, and I'll eventually post a letter. I got in touch with the United Nations. So when the United Nations get involved, this should have been between two countries, but it's not. So I understand that they're all under the United Nations. And the one thing about it is, if you know about this, whatever goes on between two people should remain between two people. You don't want a lot of people involved. You know what's going on in your house, what's going on in their house. You guys are beefing. Let it be between both of your households. But when your stuff get in the streets, it looks totally different. I got a letter from the United Nations that stated, regardless of whether, my son being home or not, they will deal with this in August of 2025. So I did get a letter stating that they're going to take this before the United Nations. So now, whether it was when it was quiet in America, it was quiet in Japan, it was quiet in China, it was quiet in Africa, it was quiet, nobody knew what was going on. Now, with the United Nations, everybody's going to know what's going on. Be an advocate. Fight for your people. Fight for your children. If you got to put the information in the streets, just put it out in the streets. If they choose not to deal with it the right way, as people, I was never taught this, but, you can see it. It's like an unkept, it's a quiet thing in like families. Whatever goes in the house stays in the house. We'll handle it in the house. And it never has to leave out. So what we're doing now, we're just waiting. We're waiting for the news to break. I did get wind today that the people are calling for interviews for the people in Japan. And I would say this, shout out to Japan. However, shout out to America, because the symposium was 2:00 in the afternoon, Japan time, but it was going to be midnight in America. And different places, some places it was midnight, some places it was 1 a.m. or whatever, and it was 3.5 hours. And when I say America showed up and showed out, yes, they did. When you go down the list and you see all them American names up in there, I'm like, my people. So it's out. It is out. Now we're waiting to see how they're going to do this. For the sake of what's going on, because of what I've seen in Japan before with some of the cases, the reason why it's really hard, because the prosecutors and all of them, they're doing their jobs, so to speak, from the powers that be. So the prosecutor on the case, they've gotten rid of judges and everything on this case, but the prosecutor on the case has not said a word since 2023. Every meeting that they go into, every the courts, everything, deny, will not even talk. So I know in order to talk, they're going to have to give up a name or people. So I get it. I get it. May the prosecutor have the courage to tell who did it and where the orders came from. However, they're giving the United Nations they have to go ahead now to go ahead and do the investigation themselves. So I thank God for the people that are there, the Honda family in Japan. That's my son's former girlfriend, their family. I mean, they're like his family. All of the people in Japan, the Innocence Project, my son's former job, all of his friends, and so many people that are there. Shout out to his attorney, the teams of attorneys, Simon Ford from America, who was a forensic expert, the newspapers that are going to pick it up, the news outlets that are going to pick it up. Of course, America didn't want to touch it. So we do understand, you know what, even though you had all the facts because I sent it, you still don't want to touch it anyway. I get it. You know what, courage is courage. And, but I thank God for my family, from the people here in America. Y'all showed up and showed out. I mean, it was early in the morning. And I do thank you all for that. I will keep you guys all informed. And you know what? Let's believe God for an awesome week. To God be the glory. And I'll see y'all the next video.